Oh, Nate George, he moves the needle.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So I guess the Zoom call between Syracuse and Naithan George went quite well, because on threes, Joe Tipton has just reported that Syracuse has landed one of the top point guards in the transfer portal, Georgia Tech's Naithan George. And we're going to break it down quickly here on this mini podcast. Hello, everyone. I'm Jackson Holzer. This is Locked On Syracuse, and thank you for making Locked On Syracuse your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Folks, I want to hear from you right now, all right? What are your thoughts on this move, and how much better did Syracuse basketball get today compared to last year? Because everyone here that's watching or listening to this, I want you to understand that this is a massive move. This is not your, he's got upside. He does. Nate George actually does have upside because he's got multiple years of eligibility left. But this is a big-time get. Now, this is the big fish we have been waiting for from Syracuse basketball. Thank you. Finally, they got it done. They get themselves a legitimate point guard, something that they lacked last year, and it cost them dearly, but they're not going to lack it next season with a guy like Nate George. I want you all to put this in perspective, and I mentioned it earlier today on a mini podcast talking about Naithan George and why Syracuse has to get him. Jaquan Carlos started 21 games for Syracuse at the point guard spot last year. 21 games. Naithan George at Georgia Tech last year, so you all are going to get your wish. This is a high major transfer. Played in 34 games, started in 34 games. He averaged 12.3 points a game, and he led the ACC in assists at 6.5 a game. Not the greatest outside shooter in the world. 33.9% from downtown in his sophomore season. However, there's upside. As I said, he's got multiple years of eligibility left because he's entering his junior year. And second of all, his freshman season, he shot 31.4% from three, and he raised it by a couple of percentage points. And oh, by the way, he took more threes this past season. This is a huge get. He also can help you rebounding. Last year, he averaged over 4 rebounds per game. This was a big-time get for Adrian Autry and Syracuse basketball. This moves the needle. Another thing about Nate George is that he's not necessarily a great defender, but he, again, showed improvement. Last year, he had an Evan Maya defensive grade of 0.46, which essentially means he makes a defense just a tad better per 100 possessions, but really not all that much. But the year before, I'm looking at it right now, he was actually a negative 0.26 defender. So he got a lot better on defense and a lot better shooting threes. And worst case scenario, if he puts up similar numbers to a year ago, or even his freshman season when he averaged 10 points a game and 5 assists per game, he's so much better than what Syracuse had last year. So much better. Thank you. This guy is damn good, and he makes Syracuse a better team. Now, coming up, we'll talk more about Syracuse and landing Naithan George. That's coming up next here on Locked On Syracuse. Life moves fast, especially when you have a family. One day you're watching your kids take their first steps, and before you know it, they're off to college, and that's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get term life insurance that fits your family needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online right from your couch. You can be covered in under 10 minutes, and in many cases, no health exam is required. You can get $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. So protecting your loved ones does not have to break the bank. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. That's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with PrizePicks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With PrizePicks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first-inning runs, PrizePicks keeps every game exciting. Setting up a lineup takes less than 60 seconds, and when you win, your payout is quick, safe, and secure. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Daylight savings snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5-Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament or squeezing in a round of golf after work or just trying to keep up with your busy day and the latest Syracuse basketball transfer portal news, that's right, Naithan George to Syracuse. 5-Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. With longer days, I love going outside for a hike or a run. Well, I was about to, and then Naithan George committed to Syracuse. Tropical Burst is my go-to for a quick boost. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. Once again, on threes, Joe Tipton reported just now that Syracuse basketball has landed Georgia Tech transfer point guard Naithan George, and this is a big-time move for Adrian Autry, the head coach, and Alex Klein, the new GM of Syracuse basketball last season, averaging over 12 points a game and nearly 7 assists per game, which actually led the ACC. Folks, he is so much better than what Syracuse basketball had a year ago. Now the question becomes, where does he fit in the rotation, and does this make Syracuse basketball a tournament team? Are they back? And I think we should do a full podcast later on, really breaking it down. But the way I see it, just off the top of my head, I really didn't write that many notes down for this because we talked about Naithan George earlier in the day after the Zoom call. That's why you use Zoom and not Teams, by the way. Always use Zoom and not Microsoft Teams. That's why. That's why they got Naithan George. All right. I digress. Naithan George is going to be Syracuse's starting point guard. Period. End of conversation. JJ Starling is going to be the starting 2. I think this definitely rules out what I said during the Nate King's podcast that, hey, maybe they move JJ Starling to the 1 if they don't get a point guard. Well, they got a point guard, a really good one. JJ Starling will stay at the 2, and that's honestly best for everyone involved. Your 3, kind of up in the air right now. I think it's going to be Nate Kings from Oregon State at the end of the day. But for Syracuse to really take that next step and really improve the roster, imagine if they got an even better wing player in the transfer portal. Like, I think Nate Kings, especially because of his shooting at 45%, could certainly start. My goodness. Imagine if you can do a little bit better than that as your starting small forward. Your starting power forward, it's going to be Donnie Freeman. I don't think anyone's going to question that, just like JJ Starling at the 2. Donnie Freeman's going to be your 4. And now that brings up center. What are they going to do at center? Is it going to be William Kyle from UCLA, or are they going to look for another center in the portal? I think they're going to look for another center because William Kyle, for as much upside as he may have, he should not prevent Syracuse from saying, oh, we could still use another center. The other option, if we're going to talk about the freshman here real quick, you could have Sadiq White in the starting lineup at the 4 and Donnie Freeman would then be the 5. However, does anyone want to see Donnie Freeman at the 5? Probably not. We could do it in certain instances, but maybe not as a full-time starting 5. So I think the next step is to find a better center than William Kyle in the transfer portal, make him be the backup, maybe perhaps a productive backup off the bench, and also another wing player. Get someone else on the wing to help Syracuse basketball. What do you think the next moves have to be for the Orange? Comment in the comment section below. Once again, Syracuse gets their point guard they desperately needed, Naithan George from Georgia Tech. This is huge. He improves the team from last year to this year significantly, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. So as far as what is coming up on Locked On Syracuse in the future, I am going to plan a more detailed and thorough full podcast on Naithan George. I can't necessarily promise you when that will be released, but it will be released soon. Either today, maybe tomorrow, worst case, it'll be released on Sunday, all right? And well, obviously, coming up, we're going to have more transfer portal talk and the next moves for Syracuse and the rotation. So you're going to want to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you know when I am posting the next podcast. And folks, thank you all for making Locked On Syracuse your first listen today. For your second listen, you can check out the Locked On College Basketball podcast with Isaac Shade and Andy Patton. And folks, we have reached the Final Four, someplace where Syracuse hopes to be next season, and maybe Nate George can help them do that. But for the Final Four action this year, Syracuse is not in it. And if you want to be the most informed college basketball fan beyond just Syracuse, you can find Locked On College Basketball on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts for all their insight on the Final Four. Folks, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this podcast, be sure to hit that like button. If you really enjoy the podcast, be sure to hit subscribe. Tell all your friends about Locked On Syracuse. Folks, today is a good day for Syracuse basketball. They got their guy, Naithan George. Welcome to Syracuse.